Thomas, the youngest of Bentley's three siblings, had already been put to bed, and Olivia was one of our chaperones for the first part of the evening. The other was Ted, the butler. Ted was actually Olivia's husband, I learned, and wasn't anything at all like what the movies had told me a butler was supposed to be. I was a little disappointed he wasn't 90 years old. Instead, Ted was a pretty young guy, maybe 30 or so. He was more than a butler, really, in that he actually helped Mr. Crittenden with a host of tasks and duties related to work and the home. He was more like a personal assistant, I guess. But he did answer the door when we arrived, and he called each of us sir. He was peppy and wacky, and we liked him immediately. His wife was lovely as well, but very quiet and soft-spoken, the opposite of Ted. Not once during my entire stay at Bentley's house did either of his parents make an appearance. I remember thinking that was a little strange, but I also knew they had to be very busy people. And Bentley seemed right at home in the company of Ted and Olivia. There was a familiarity between them that suggested they spent plenty of time together. I couldn't help but wonder if some of the tension I'd sensed in Bentley regarding his father had a fairly common cause. Maybe he just didn't get to see his dad all that much. But I didn't have time to dwell on thoughts like that because there was entirely too much fun to be had and too much to talk about regarding the Super Sim. Everyone was there. Bentley, Henry, James, Freddie, and me. And Donnie, of course. I'm sure he hadn't received many more sleepover invitations in his life than I had, so I was pretty confident he would enjoy himself. We played ping pong for a while. Well, everyone but James and I played, even Henry. We ordered pizza from a place in Freepoint called Jack's, and it was quite possibly the best-tasting pizza I'd ever had. The whole night was fun. Everyone laughed and carried on like it was a party. It was one of the first such experiences of my life, actually. Between moving all the time and being blind, my life just hadn't produced many memorable social encounters with people my own age. I was beginning to feel like I was part of a group, and I soaked it in. After a couple hours of food and games, our adult chaperones turned in. They were staying in one of the guest house bedrooms for the night to keep us honest. "Hey, you guys want to see my workshop?" Bentley volunteered. "You have your own workshop?" Henry asked. "Sure. It's really just a spare room in the basement my dad let me turn into a workshop for building or tinkering with things." "You mean like an inventor?" I asked, curious to know more about what an uber genius like Bentley would attempt to invent. "Yeah, sure, I guess. I don't know. I just build stuff. Most of it's junk. Doesn't work. I started when I was younger, mostly just taking things apart to see how they worked. But it wasn't very long before I started trying to build my own things." I said, clearing my throat. "I definitely want to go. Count me in." I was 100% on board with this little field trip, already dreaming of the laser guns and rockets I was sure Bentley was building. "Yeah, me too. Let's see this workshop," Henry said, still acting a little skeptical. Freddie and James didn't take any convincing after that, and Donnie never did. Bentley gave James some idea of where the room was in the main house, and where that was in relation to our position. We all put our hands out in the center of the group, and then... oof! We were there. "That was awesome," Freddie giggled. Not everyone had a mother who could teleport, so it was the first trip for some. "See? What did I tell you?" James bragged. Then, quietly to Bentley, he added, "This is the room, right?" "Yes," Bentley said, a smile in his voice. Everyone took in the room quietly for a few moments, while I wondered what it looked like. Henry was the first to speak. "Jeez Louise, Bentley. This place is amazing." "Yeah, well, what can I say? My dad's loaded. I try my best not to make a big deal out of it." "You do a fine job at that, because I had no freaking idea until tonight," Henry marveled. "You're like richer than the president." "I doubt that," Bentley said. "Anyway, this is it. Over in that corner is the chemistry setup. I play with electrical stuff over there." He was obviously giving a standing tour of the room, pointing out the various areas as he went. It was easy enough for me to tell which area was where just by how the direction of his voice changed as he moved his head. He continued. "Robotics share space in..."